a quick example of using frame generator in Inventor 2011. I'm going to start out with a new part. Part is going to be kind of what we call a skeletal file. I'm going to start with just the rectangle command, and I'm going to make this guy 60. Hit the tab key and go up 48. Hit enter. Then I'll double click my mouse wheel so I can do a zoom extent. So it's going to be a pretty good sized table. I'll go ahead and rotate it around just a little bit, holding down F4. I'll finish the sketch and we'll extrude it up. Drag that out of the way a little bit. About 32 inches. So I've got my little box. I want to be able to see through it, so I'm going to change the color. Use the little drop down, I'll just change it to blue clear. And then I may want to add in some other little areas over here. So I'm going to do a new sketch on the side. These are going to be my little support braces. So I'll drag in two lines. I'll go ahead and make them perpendicular. There it is. And we'll go ahead and make them equal. And I'll put a quick dimension on there. Set them in at 45 degrees. I'm not going to really worry about the actual size of them. Just keep them, about that big. Now I want them also on the other side of this little table. And you'll just have to bear with me till I get to the frame generator part. Then you'll be able to actually visualize this. I'm going to go ahead and extrude this. I'm going to extrude this as a surface. And I'm going to say 2 and pick on that face and just add that surface. I want to use that sketch again, so I'm going to right click on the sketch, share the sketch, and we'll do one more extrude. It's going to be another surface to that back face and hit OK. Next I'll go ahead and turn off that sketch, and I want to go ahead and sketch a little bit something on the top, so I'll just start the new sketch, and I'm just going to draw a little rectangle up here. And that looks pretty good. So finish the sketch. I'm going to go ahead and save it out. Got a little directory down here. Put it, call this guy FG1. Next we're going to go ahead and put him into an assembly. So we'll start up an assembly. Hit the little arrange icon so I see both of them on the screen. Can't really drag it from here and drop it in the assembly. I have to grab it from the browser at the very top level. Grab that part and drag and drop it in the browser. Go ahead and close it. Open up the assembly. Rotate around just a little bit. Go ahead and save the assembly out. Call it the exact same thing, FG1, frame generator 1. We'll go to the design tab. We'll start up the insert frame generator. Here we have a lot of different standards. We have a lot of different families of standards. So here I'm going to use a square tubing. We'll do a 2 by 2 by quarter. And then all I have to do is select on the individual little legs or lines. And I can even pick the edges of the surfaces. Right now they're all centered. So I could either go to the outside, or maybe I want everything to go to the inside of that box, so that way my dimensions are to the outside of the table. Now here's the tricky thing. When I apply this, it says new frame file name. I need to make sure that this is unique, because the next time that I hit the frame generator button and create a new frame and a new assembly, guess what? This is the exact same thing. That's going to create a non-unique file. So I need to make sure that I put some type of a pre-code or something on there to make sure that both that frame assembly and the little skeletal file that I've got is going to be unique. So that's very important. The other thing you'd want to do, of course, is make sure that these frame components also have some type of a unique prefix on here. So I'll go ahead and put 1 on there. So now you can kind of see I've got all of them renamed. I've put the FG1 at the beginning of each of these different members. That's going to keep them unique So the next time I put in an ANSI 2x2 by quarter for the first component, it's not going to be, it'll be unique for this assembly. So we'll go ahead and say OK. It's going to create the files, bring me back into the dialog. Here I want to select on my little sketch so I can use 2D sketches. This time I want to use some L equal. And we'll use some 2x2 by quarter. I'm going to zoom in on this. I'm going to change where the insertion location is. And that's exactly how I want it. So again, I'll go ahead and say OK out of there. I need to go in here again. Notice that this ANSI is very generic. I want to make sure it's going to be unique here. And I've actually copied it to the clipboard so I can just paste it in there. So I can go through these fairly quickly and place them in. So data management is it makes it easy in Inventor because the frame generator creates all those, but you do have to be careful about your data management and make sure that everything does stay unique. So once it creates those 4 files, places them in there, I've got to clean them up in a little bit, but before I do that, I've got one more little bit of maintenance I need to do. Let's take a quick look at the bill of material. And you'll notice my little skeletal file FG1 is actually set to normal. So just double click inside there, and I'm going to change him to Phantom. I'm also going to go to the Structured tab. We'll go ahead and enable it. And you'll notice that there's all my little part numbers. And you'll notice that now the actual FG1, since he's set to Phantom, is not going to show up in my parts list. Something else you'll notice is that the actual container for the assembly, or the subassembly in this case, does not show up. Everything actually is coming from the data underneath it and going up to the actual structured bill of material. So we'll go ahead and say done. A lot of times I will turn this visibility of this guy off. And now we got to do a little bit of cleanup. So go back over to the design tab. I'm going to trim and extend. I'm going to go ahead and trim each of these 4 components. We'll rotate around. And we'll zoom in on the bottom little face of this guy and say apply. Apply allows me to stay in the same dialog box. So I can do the same thing, select on those 2. I don't have to go to the dialog. I can right click, say continue, select on that plane, right click, apply. So next we'll spin the model around a little bit. Pick on these 2 guys, right click, continue, right click, apply. Now so far I've been using the trim and extend command. I'm going to go ahead and, it was doing a trim, now I'm actually going to do it with an extend. So I'll pick on that face, apply it, and you'll see both of those members extend to that. Kind of do the same thing, rotate around, continue, pick on that face, right click, apply, and both those members. I still have some intersections, so I'm going to use the notch command. The part that I want to notch is the blue guy, so I'm going to pick on him and notch it with that one. Again, I can right click and use the apply command. So I can go through these quite quickly. So now when I rotate around, you'll see they're perfectly notched member to member. And this is doing it at the actual part level. If I shift and right click, I can go to part priority. That allows me to select the individual components. If I open them up in his own window, you'll notice that the feature browser actually shows the assembly notches. Rotate around just a little bit. But then I can also change this over to the model tab and just start modeling if I need to poke some holes or something into this component. So we can close out of him. Go back to the assembly. Rotate around just a little bit. Need to put some little miters on here. So I use the miter. I can also put a little gap in there. And again, select the 2 pieces, hit apply. Puts the miter in there with the existing gap. Do the same thing on all 4 corners. Now you've got a great looking table. Thanks very much.